Welcome back to the battle between the White Phoenix of the Crown, Jean Grey, and Full Potential Franklin Richards. A clash between the White Phoenix of the Crown, Jean Grey, and Full Potential Franklin Richards. Even in their base forms, neither of these characters falls within the category of ordinary superheroes or physical entities. They are gods of reality, beings capable of shaping, destroying, and recreating the entire fabric of the multiverse and even the omniverse with a single thought. The outcome of this confrontation will be decided by who holds a higher authority in the hierarchy of the one above all, and who can impose their will upon the very canvas of reality. In short, let's begin the analysis. First up is the White Phoenix of the Crown, Jean Grey. The Phoenix Force is not simply a source of energy, it is the abstract embodiment of life, passion, and rebirth on a universal scale. It existed before the universe was created, the first flame that burned in the void of nothingness, and the origin of all psychic energy in the multiverse. Jean Grey, as the perfect and uniquely chosen host of the Phoenix, has gone through countless cycles of death and resurrection, merging with and separating from this entity. The White Phoenix of the Crown represents the absolute peak, the most perfected and ultimate state of Jean Grey when she merges completely with the Phoenix Force. This is no longer Jean Grey borrowing the Phoenix's power, nor the Phoenix possessing Jean Grey. This is the flawless fusion of a human will and the abstract concept of cosmic life. White symbolizes purity, perfection, and a state of absolute balance, uncorrupted by destruction, unlike the Dark Phoenix. Of the Crown affirms her supreme status, the one who holds control over the entire Phoenix Force across all realities, all timelines, and all dimensions. The dwelling place and source of power for the White Phoenix is the White Hot Room, a metaphysical dimension situated at the very apex of the cosmic hierarchy, second only to the realm of the one above all. The White Hot Room is the origin and the ultimate destination of all Phoenix forces. When Jean Grey reaches the White Phoenix state, she exists within the White Hot Room, meaning she exists outside and beyond all concepts of time, space, and causality. The abilities of the White Phoenix of the Crown go far beyond the concept of reality warping. She doesn't just alter reality, she is reality. At this level, Jean can create, destroy, and rebirth entire multiverses in the blink of an eye. She has the power to resurrect dead timelines, universes that have been completely erased from existence. In comic events, the White Phoenix has been shown repairing tears in the fabric of the multiverse, wounds that even cosmic entities like eternity or infinity could not handle. Her power is absolute and conceptual. She can manipulate souls, life force, and the very essence of existence. Anyone facing the White Phoenix is not just fighting an entity with infinite power, but is fighting the very concepts of life and death themselves. She can strip the immortality from gods, turn abstract entities into nothingness, or grant the lowliest of creatures the power of a deity. Her speed and perception operate at an omniscient level. She perceives everything that is happening, has happened, and will happen across all timelines simultaneously. The White Phoenix is virtually invulnerable. All physical, energy, or even lower-level reality manipulation attacks are meaningless against her. She exists in a state where the laws of physics and logic cannot be applied. If an enemy tries to erase her from a timeline, she simply regenerates her existence from the White Hot Room, which lies beyond the reach of time. However, the sole weakness, or rather the psychological characteristic of the White Phoenix of the Crown, lies in Jean Grey's very human nature. Though she has reached a godlike state, Jean's core remains that of a human, with compassion, love, and at times hesitation. She is not a mindless, destructive entity. She is a guardian of life. Therefore, she rarely uses her power to completely annihilate an enemy unless it is the only way to protect the balance of the multiverse. This restraint, born from Jean's humanity, is the only element that could be exploited, though exploiting it in a life or death battle is an extraordinarily difficult task. Now we will talk about Full Potential Franklin Richards. Franklin Richards, the son of Reed Richards and Sue Storm, was born with a curse, the greatest in the history of the Fantastic Four and the entire Marvel Universe. From a very young age, Franklin was identified as an Omega-level mutant with the ability to warp reality. However, when we speak of Full Potential Franklin Richards, we are talking about the adult version, when he has completely mastered his power, overcome all psychological limitations, and reached the pinnacle of his evolution. Franklin's power is not merely about altering the shape of matter or creating illusions. At his full potential, Franklin is a creative and destructive entity on a multiversal scale. His most prominent and fearsome ability is creating universes. Unlike many other entities who merely create small pocket dimensions, Franklin is capable of creating fully complete universes with their own distinct laws of physics, time, and space. In some versions, as an adult, Franklin even creates an entire fully realized multiverse of his own, a feat that astonishes even high-level cosmic entities. Franklin's matter and energy manipulation operates at a subatomic and conceptual level. He can transform energy into matter and vice versa, alter the fundamental physical constants of the universe, and manipulate reality with a mere thought. The strength of Franklin's will and imagination is the only limit to his power. If he believes something can happen, reality will bend to accommodate his desire. He possesses the ability to teleport on a cosmic scale, manipulate time, traveling to the past, the future, or freezing time, and read the minds of nearly every being in the universe. Full potential Franklin possesses immortality and absolute regenerative capabilities. He does not age, cannot succumb to disease, and if his physical body is destroyed, his consciousness and power will automatically regenerate a new body from nothingness. In the events at the end of the universe, as in the concluding Fantastic Four series, when the multiverse is collapsing and everything is returning to the void, Franklin is one of the few entities capable of existing independently outside that collapse. He has been witnessed holding the entire multiverse in his hand, compressing it into a tiny sphere to protect it from total destruction, a feat demonstrating physical and energetic power on an immeasurable scale. Franklin's power is further amplified by his lineage. As the son of two core members of the Fantastic Four, he inherits his father's genius-level intellect and his mother's deep connection to negative space energy. However, his true power transcends both. He has interacted with and even overpowered cosmic entities such as Galactus, making Galactus serve him as a herald, and has been acknowledged by the Celestials as a being with potential far exceeding their own. The greatest weakness of full potential Franklin Richards lies not in his power, but in his psychology and his human nature. Franklin's power is tied to his emotions, imagination, and subconscious. If he loses focus, doubts himself, or is overcome by fear, his power will diminish or become uncontrollable. Even at his full potential, Franklin still carries psychological trauma, human fears, and emotional attachments. He is not a mindless, abstract entity. He is a human being wielding the power of a creator god. It is this human mind, with its complexities and limitations, that becomes a critical weakness when confronting entities that operate purely on cosmic logic or pure will. First of all, we are witnessing a confrontation between two of the most powerful, creative, and destructive forces in existence. On one side is Jean Grey in her White Phoenix of the Crown form, the ultimate embodiment of the Phoenix Force, wielding the concept of life and death on an omniversal scale. On the other is Franklin Richards at his full potential, a mutant entity capable of creating and destroying multiverses with his imagination and will. In terms of the sheer scope of power, both can effortlessly create, sustain, or erase billions of universes in a fraction of a second. Franklin Richards can create an entirely new multiverse from nothingness, while the White Phoenix can resurrect multiverses that have died. In terms of reality manipulation, both are at the absolute pinnacle. Franklin bends reality to the whim of his imagination, whereas the White Phoenix is reality, shaping it according to the will of the life concept itself. Therefore, if we only look at basic power metrics, this battle appears to be a perfect stalemate, a fight where both sides possess the ability to erase each other. Franklin Richards' power, no matter how immense, still originates from him being a mutant of this universe. His power operates within the framework of the Marvel Multiverse. He can create universes, but he still exists inside or parallel to the structure of that multiverse. Meanwhile, the Phoenix Force, and especially the White Phoenix of the Crown, exists on a higher tier. The White Hot Room sits at the apex of the hierarchy, outside and above the multiverse. The White Phoenix does not just manipulate the multiverse, she oversees and sustains the very concept of the multiverse's existence. In the Marvel hierarchy, abstract entities like the Phoenix, in its ultimate state, stand above entities that represent the physical universe, such as eternity. Franklin can rival cosmic entities, but the White Phoenix holds the position of those who govern and shape those very entities. Full potential Franklin's power is tightly bound to his human mind. It depends on his imagination, focus, and emotional state. Even though he has reached his full potential, he is still a conscious being with perceptual limitations, vulnerable to psychological or conceptual attacks. In contrast, the White Phoenix of the Crown is the fusion of Jean Grey and an abstract entity. In this state, Jean has transcended the limitations of an ordinary human mind. She perceives all things on an omniscient scale within her domain of influence. She does not just imagine reality, she knows it and commands it. When Franklin tries to imagine a scenario to defeat the White Phoenix, the White Phoenix has already foreseen it, because she exists at every point in space and time simultaneously. Furthermore, consider conceptual resistance and attack capability. Franklin can erase a universe, but the White Phoenix can strip away the very concept of Franklin's existence. The Phoenix Force is the flame of life. The White Phoenix could simply snuff out Franklin's life flame, or rewrite his conceptual history so that Franklin Richards never existed at all. Franklin can regenerate his body from nothingness, but the White Phoenix controls that very nothingness and that very concept. In a direct confrontation, Franklin would likely unleash his most powerful attacks, trying to rewrite reality to turn the White Phoenix into nothingness, or create universes to imprison her. But the White Phoenix, existing within the White Hot Room, is beyond the reach of multiversal level reality manipulation. She would easily step through the layers of reality Franklin creates as if walking through veils of mist. When Franklin attempts to manipulate energy or matter, the White Phoenix, as the embodiment of psychic energy and life itself, could simply absorb or nullify those efforts. Franklin Richards is a magnificent creator god, an entity capable of shaping universes to his will. He represents the infinite potential of life and imagination. But White Phoenix of the Crown, Jean Grey, is not merely a creator god. She is the embodiment of the concept of life itself, the holder of the crown of the primordial flame that ignited the entire multiverse. Franklin can create a beautiful painting, but the White Phoenix holds the canvas itself, the paints, and the very meaning of a painting's existence. Therefore, while full potential Franklin Richards is one of the most powerful entities, if not the most powerful, among beings originating from Earth when facing the White Phoenix of the Crown, he is confronting an entity situated at the very apex of the cosmic hierarchy. Franklin's power is limited by the mind and concepts of a universe, whereas the White Phoenix's power defines and encompasses all such concepts. Thus, in my opinion, White Phoenix of the Crown, Jean Grey, would be the victor. What do you all think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Thank you all very much.